research on Head Start, research around the country, except for these two studies from the 60s and 70s, will tell you that the benefits of pre-K are short-lived. They may not be worth the expense. Russ Whitehurst at the Brookings Institute, which is a left-of-center organization, has looked through data for the value of direct funds, direct subsidies to families, such as the Earned Income Tax Credit, and has found per dollar spent, EITC does a better job of improving test scores in low-income children than does pre-K. So there are all sorts of ways to get to the solution we all want, ultimately, which is low-income families to provide better education for their children so that the children are less likely to be low-income themselves. But I don't think you can say, based on these two studies from the 60s and 70s, that this is what we ought to do. And importantly, because few pre-K programs will offer the services, the wraparound services that Mary does. I think the irony in Kansas City, unfortunately, is that we want to try to make people rich by taking money from them. And I agree absolutely with Angie that we tax too much, we tax the poor too much. It is very important to offer these services, but I don't know that another tax to provide another service will get us there, and the research from Brookings suggests that that's not the way to do it.
We're talking about educating kids in the first 5 years of their life, and there's no way that you can tell me, regardless of what study you may cite, that taking away the 1% sales tax means that the people who get that break are going to use that money to educate their children. They may use it to buy a car, a better television. They may use it for food or whatever else they were going to use.
Right.
This is targeted for a very specific purpose, and that is to educate children, and it falls directly on the people who need it the most, which is exactly why the discounts are targeted for those at the lower end of the income spectrum.
Your argument was with the Brookings Institution, which says that programs, dollars spent on EITC improves scores more than that same dollar spent on pre-K. So absolutely, people can spend it however they want. But maybe what we're talking about is the quality of life of the low-income family and what they do day to day in their household, rather than taking money from them and saying, we know better how to spend your money than you do. We're going to take your money and give you a service. It is, I think, perhaps part of the problem is that people on low income in Kansas City and elsewhere feel powerless over their own lives. They're busting their butt to pay the taxes, and they don't have the opportunity to spend quality time with their family, and perhaps an EITC or lowering taxes for those people can help. At least that's what Brookings suggests.